Okay, Ron's and my first kiss. Here's the story. Hello friends, welcome to my channel. My name is Alex Alberti. I appreciate you being here. For a lot of you, we've already kind of been connected on Instagram and TikTok, and now that I'm entering this new YouTube space, I'm super excited to do my first video that will just be kind of like a simple, fun Q&A. I put a question up on my Instagram to just ask me anything, and here are some of your questions and some responses, so I hope these are in some way enlightening to who I am as a person. So the first question we have is, what is my go-to comfort food? So this has kind of been changing around a lot the last few years, but I'm gonna actually give you a couple. The first is every white person's favorite Indian food, butter chicken. I'm absolutely obsessed with it, and I will just scarf an entire dish down whenever possible. I'm also very much into tom kha, which is a Thai soup, especially with chicken. I am just in love with it, especially when it's rainy or cold or I'm not feeling well. Tom kha is like one of my favorite foods ever. Next question, boxers or briefs? I've actually undergone a transformation in this particular zone. I would actually say that I have become a briefs person, and the only reason is that my shorts have gotten shorter. So I have much shorter shorts now. I'm only 5'4", and so because of that, if I wore any longer underwear with these shorts, they would be sticking out. And so I used to wear a lot of like trunk boxer briefs, but now that my shorts are about 4 inches, that doesn't work anymore, so briefs it is. Okay, so a couple questions now about my day-to-day. So the first question is, what work do you do in your daily life? So my 9 to 5, I actually work in education technology research. That means that I help school districts around the country who spend tens of thousands of dollars on, products and software for their students. I help them research how effective using that software is for student learning. That way the students get the benefit of the software, and if a district realizes that the software is not actually working for them, they can get rid of it. So I'm kind of a statistician now, which is weird because the last stats class I took was AP statistics, but it came back pretty fast. I did study psychology and research methods in my undergrad, so I have a lot of that knowledge already. So a kind of related question is, what are my hobbies? So what a lot of people may know or may not know about me is that I'm actually a conductor. So I have a bachelor's degree and a master's degree in music education. And for the longest time, I actually taught high school band. I was a high school band director. And now that I'm no longer doing that for my 9 to 5, I left that full-time a couple years ago, I conduct a symphonic band. So in my free time, I'm conducting that group. It is a blast. It's actually a pride band, which means that it's a band for LGBTQ people and their allies, which is really, really fun. In the music realm as well, I also am a singer, and I am in an a cappella group. So on Monday nights, I rehearse with my adult a cappella group. We actually have some music on streaming services. If you ever want to check it out, we are called Triadic Vocals. Outside of that, I'm doing a lot of reading. The person I'm dating now, Ron, is really into reading, and he kind of re-sparked my love of literature. So I have been doing a ton of reading recently. I'm going through about 3 to 4 books a month, which some people go much faster than that, but since I haven't read for pleasure since I was probably like a teenager, it's really nice to dive back into that. Okay, the next question is, what is the first musician or band that I remember being obsessed with? So I'll give a couple answers. One of the first bands that I can think of, my first concert was actually an A-Teens concert, foreshadowing to being gay. But it was actually an A-Teens concert. I think Aaron Carter may have also performed at that concert, God rest his soul. But yeah, I would say the A-Teens. But I think as somewhat of an adult, the band that really caught my interest, that I, fawned over their lyrics, fawned over their music, was actually the Postal Service, a Ben Gibbard project. If you've never heard the Postal Service, I recommend checking them out. They had made like one album and then dipped. They actually just had a reunion tour, I think, but they certainly were a huge passion of mine, and I really loved their music. Okay, this next question. When did I first come out and what advice would I give someone for the journey of self-acceptance? I actually knew my sexual orientation pretty early in my life. I'm pretty sure by elementary school I had the inkling that I was probably gay, and it was actually around late elementary school to early middle school that I came out to someone for the first time. It was actually my childhood best friend, and we were upstairs in my childhood home, and I was really nervous to tell him that I had this secret. And so on a piece of paper, I wrote, "I like boys." And I had him leave the room, and then I closed the door, and then I slipped that piece of paper underneath the door so he could read it and I wouldn't have to face him when he read it. But he was very accepting. He didn't really seem to mind or care, and that was my first coming out experience, again, like late elementary school, early middle school. Since that point, I had kind of a typical coming out experience. I would kind of slowly leak it out to my close friends. Of course, I started out as bisexual. That wasn't real. And I joined my high school's Gay Straight Alliance, and I was the straight president of the Gay Straight Alliance. But yeah, I mean, little by little, by the end of high school, I would say most of my friends at least had an unspoken inkling that I was gay. I had been dating guys all throughout high school, so my best friends definitely knew. By the time I got to college, my freshman year, I actually came out to my mom over email. I was dating somebody who was freshly out of the closet. I was the second person he had ever told about liking guys. And we started dating, and he called me one day and said, "Hey, Alex, I think I'm going to come out of the closet to my parents." And I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. It's been like a couple months. Maybe slow down and take some time to think about it. But nope, he went off. He came out to his parents, and then he called me in tears, crying about how horribly it went. For a little bit of backstory, this particular ex of mine came from a pretty rural, conservative part of North Carolina, so unfortunately his parents didn't have much experience coping with things like that, and it just did not go well when he came out to them. So I went down to his room. We lived in the same dorm. I went to go comfort him, and I said, "You know what? I will level the playing field. I will come out to my parents." So I opened up my laptop, I typed a coming out email to my mom, I sent it off, and she showed my dad, and the rest is history. My coming out to my parents went pretty well. I think the reason it went so well is that I approached them with a pretty strong sense of stubbornness and confidence about who I was. I actually told my mom in the email, "I'm bringing my boyfriend home this weekend to meet you. I'm gay. You're gonna have to deal with it," essentially. My dad's reaction was, "Oh, okay, that's nice." He didn't have many reactions to things. But yeah, it actually all went well. So embedded in that story, I think, is my best piece of advice about coming out. Coming out is going to be a cycle and process that you experience your entire life. But I think the most important part about coming out is being very strong in your convictions to others. Letting other people know that you're not apologetic about your identity, and they can either get on board or they're gonna lose your relationship. And I think being and embodying that warmth and strength and confidence when coming out, when appropriate, was extremely important to me. And I think it was the reason that my coming out, again, went so well. Okay, Ron's and my first kiss. Here's the story. So, a lot of you know that we were very close friends for at least a year and a half before anything romantic ever happened between us. When we first met, we were both actually in long-term committed relationships, and both of those relationships happened to end. But once we both ended up single, everybody in our lives started echoing the sentiment that we should be dating, or that we were already dating, which was not true. We had a conversation. We went out to a lake kind of late at night over around where we live, and I kind of just brought up the subject about our feelings, and that evolved into us kind of reciprocating that we wanted to explore what else was potentially there between us. It was actually a really awesome night. We got frozen yogurt and had a life-changing conversation, and it was a lot. But our first kiss was actually one of the first nights we spent in a bed together. Not like that. But when you first are trying to be, romantically physical with someone, there's always that, fun discomfort of trying to slowly get closer and closer together. We ended up just very warmly and lovingly snuggling, and one thing led to another, and underneath the beautiful galaxy projector lights of my bedroom, we kissed. And it set my body on fire, and it was very, very good. I like dating him. So yeah, that's some Q&A. I'm happy to do another one of these videos in the future if you all have important questions for me. If you haven't already, you should like, comment, and subscribe. I hate having to say that, but I guess that's the YouTube game. I'd love for you to click that like button to subscribe, and I will see you all in the next video.